Hey everybody, it's Shanika from Courier. I'm here with Shreya. Shreya, say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to talk today about courier automations. And, when I labeled this, I just sort of said, like, hey, what am I talking about? I'm just talking about Courier, right? This is like the core of Courier, where we're talking about ways to do, everybody knows how to send like a single email. So when I say, hey, couriers for sending messages, it's like, hey, I know how to do that. Where does Courier really add value? Very often it's in multi-channel notifications, but it can also be in this, which is way more complex versions of a single channel notification. What's our goal? What are we building this week, Shreya?
So, we're actually in time for the automations launch at Courier this week. We just launched, we did it yesterday, right?
Yeah, it
We
went out
launched
yesterday. Yeah.
the automations feature. And automations has been around for a while, but we just did some updates to it and try to make it a little bit easier to use and just a better developer experience. So, we're going to be running through how to build automations and all of the different things that you can do with that feature.
Awesome. Yeah, and the way I would describe it, if I had to sort of just explain to somebody what Courier does, is it's not a messaging provider. It stands on top. It's an abstraction on top of your messaging provider. So I think we're using Gmail today to send our notifications. And when you start out, you think, oh, I can just sort of add in a line of code and send an email notification once I've set up my mail gun or what have you. Then you find out, hey, you end up having to stand up a service. And so a classic one for a reason you have to have your own messaging service is, in this case, I think what we're doing is somebody signed up and you don't want to just email them once, like right when they signed up, right? You want to email them, have a little campaign, right? It's like 2 or 3 more messages saying, hey, thanks for signing up. Hey, have you tried out this feature? Hey, you've had it for 3 days. What do you think? That kind of thing. And you could like send at a sign up, you could put them into some other tool like Salesforce or HubSpot and run a whole campaign. But it would be nice to be able to just say, hey, on day 2, day 3 after sign up, send them these additional messages within your own platform. And so, as an engineer, I know that that's going to mean some kind of additional cron job or some other kind of at least microservice to emit those messages. Wouldn't it be nice is when you send that first message, you could just say, hey, and then add a delay, send the second message, send the third message, maybe even through multiple channels. Is that kind of the plan?
That is exactly the plan.
I
You can
love
do
it.
batch messages, you can automate sequences, you can do a lot of things. So I'm actually just going to pop on the screen recording over here or the screen
Ooh.
share. This is the automations doc.
Can we
If you
get
want
can
to
we
go
get like
check
a
it
step of
out.
zoom in and
Oh,
enhance
yeah.
here?
I always forget to do that. I'm zooming into the wrong desktop.
Alexa, play the CSI Miami theme song. Oh, I'm really sorry if y'all have an Alexa in your office. I just said that.
You
I was
totally
not.
just you started my Alexa.
I
Alexa,
apologize.
stop.
I apologize. That's my go-to joke because I have Google Homes in my place. So.
I'm dead. That was funny.
Do we actually get the CSI Miami theme song? I am happy about that.
You did. It's pretty good. But yeah, this is our automations doc. We're not going to be following it today, but if you have any questions about anything that we demonstrate, or if you want to get a deeper understanding about how automations works and all the things that you can do with it, I would really recommend going over to our Courier docs and checking it out. It's over here in tutorials.
And also, if you haven't used Courier at all, and you're like, "Hey, how do I just get this up?" First of all, I happen to think that if you sign up and just follow the steps that it shows you, you'll probably get to ready to do this next step that we're going to do. But if you want to watch a video of us doing that initial setup, that's available. We'll link it down below in the show notes as well. But yeah, this is sort of starting to. Hey, we have Courier set up, but now we kind of want to use Courier for the first thing. It's like dead useful, and automations might be a very good first step for that.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually 2 ways in which you can use automations. One of them is directly through our Courier Studio. So you literally just go to app.courier.com, you log in, you go through the onboarding process if you haven't used it before, and then you'll see a little button over here that says automations, and it takes you over here. I'm actually going to delete this to show you what it would look like if this is the first time you're dealing with automations.
And can we get a step or two of zoom in and enhance on this interface
Yes,
as
you're going
well?
to have to remind me that every single time.
Don't worry, I'm actually wearing the wrong reading glasses today. They're like the ones that I use for like embroidery. So it's like good. Like I can see the microphone with just pixel perfect clarity, but my screen is a little blurry. I have a choice of like 2 types of blurry. So I will notice in a moment. Don't even worry about it. Don't even trip. I will notice right away because I can't see anything with these things.
Like, that works out as long as it looks good for the
It's a
photo.
simulator of like minor vision impairment. So perfect.
Okay, so you can see over here, there's some templates that you can literally just click into. If you're batch sending message, if you're scheduling a message, if you're sending a reminder, or if you're trying to cancel an automation, you can just click on one of these and it'll automatically create that template for you. So here you can see for a batch send automation, all you have to do is you'll send a notification. You can decide what that notification is. You'll send another notification. You'll send another notification. It's literally just a sequence of sends. And these happen simultaneously.
Yeah,
There's no
with no
delay
delay
between them.
between them. Yeah.
Exactly. What type of automation do we want to build today,
I
Nico?
think we want to think about like like send a notification, maybe a multi-channel one, then a day later send another thing, then another day later send another thing. We can do it, separated by an hour or something, but it's, again, in my mind, it's that sign up. Hey, thanks for signing up. Hey, have you tried this? Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Okay. I will say, if you're trying to send notifications, the actual first step or the prerequisite for any of this is to go into the designer and design your notification.
Hmm.
If you want something that's really fancy, if you don't want something that's really fancy, you just want a single line email or a text, then we'll show you how to do that directly in the
But yeah,
automation.
when you're grabbing those drop downs a minute ago that said like 2 minute this or this kind of email, those are templates that we've already set up, and I'll point that out again when we get there.
Exactly. So the first thing, like Nika said, is that we're sending a notification, and this is the drop down that you were literally just talking about.
Oh yeah.
Um, So we have a bunch of options over here. We're not going to go into designing notifications, so I'm just going to pick the first one on the list. And to recipient, if you're curious about where you can find your recipients, you literally just want to go over to users over here and pop over. You'll see a list of users. This is for demo purposes, so we only have one user
Yeah.
at the time.
And to be clear about sort of what's happening, in case we need to take a step back here and zoom out,
Yes.
we're setting up this automation, and this is something that we're going to kick off multiple times, like after this, right? So we'll be able to say, hey, you can just emit a request to Courier that either has a user ID because we created the user in Courier, or it says, hey, here's the email I want you to send it to. You just emit with that and say, hey, here's another person I want to send this, sign up and then nag for 2 days about whatever, remind for 2 days about whatever, for that automation. So we're not going to go, obviously, we're not going to do this designer every time, for each new user for our site, but we're not even going to have to like go into this interface to send it to the next user, right? We're going to be able to emit an API request and then have this automation start up.
Exactly. And then I'm just going to copy the user ID that's over here. If you have a list of users, you can decide to send it to a list as well, and paste it in here so that we know who we're sending this notification to. And then the next step, what did you say we wanted it in between
We
the
just want to
sends?
wait like a day.
Okay, let's wait a day. So you can choose how long you want to wait for. I'm going to pick 1 day. You can do 24 hours. You can do whatever math you prefer. Always remember to publish changes at every step just so that you don't happen to lose anything in the process. And then a new step, which is send another notification, right?
Yeah, let's send, well, and if we're set up in this demo environment, let's send a push notification too, because we're really giving the heart soul at this point. Thank you so much for signing up for our site. We love you.
That is actually a great point that I forgot to mention in this first one. This 10-minute reminder, if we go into the designer, is actually an email notification that I designed before. So it's already set up with the Gmail integration. You can see send via Gmail, right? In this case, for our second send, what I'm going to do is instead of manually creating a new send in here, I'm going to do it via code. So if you click on this little toggle button over here, you can see that you can switch over to the send view. And this is the entire automation setup for you. So you can see
Wow.
the first step. Is it zoomed in enough?
Give me one more, just
One
because
more.
I think there's actually like I'm seeing an artifact that I don't think our viewers will see. That looks great. That looks
Okay.
great.
So yeah, this is the first send step. And then this is the little delay step that we just made, right?
Wow. Yeah. So this is an important thing. Like when if you're a product person or UX person, I think the big point with Courier is that this can mean that control of some of your notifications and campaigns can come back inside your team rather than having to go to like a notification specialist or operations person elsewhere. If it is your job to code up, push notifications and other channels notifications, this hopefully means again that you can like let some of the responsibility go with the people who actually like worry about the user experience or worry about writing those notifications. And so what's nice about this is this may not be the way that those maybe UX people or design people are designing their notifications. Maybe they want to use that visual editor, but for yourself, you can totally go in and just send an API request and say, hey, new automation, and it works like this, right? So if you want to do a bunch of updates or what have you.
Exactly. So obviously we can add it via the designer as many as we want to, but for demo purposes, we're just going to actually manually create one, and we're going to try to use API v2. Now, if you're familiar with API v2, or if you're not familiar with it, it's basically the same as sending any type of notification, but it removes that step where you have to use the designer. So API v2 allows you to just send one-line emails, SMS, any type of notification with just one API call directly.
And that makes a ton of sense of like you want to either something quite complex on your side, right? I want to make this big complex piece of HTML, or it's like, hey, this is a really simple notification. It's just a one line with a link. And so I just want to construct that. I don't want to worry about designing a template for that. I just want to be able to send directly.
Exactly. So we are doing a send step, so I'm going to specify that. And then the rest of it is exactly what a regular API v2 call would look like. So I'm going to have everything that I want to send out in the message within the message object. And we're going to go ahead and add those curly braces. The first step is the who we're sending it to. So who would we like to send this message to, Nika?
You can send it to me. You can send it to Nika@Courier.com. If you're watching this video and you find my email address from this and send me the word spaghetti, I will send you some swag. So, Nika@Courier.com, to say it one more time. I won't put it on screen titles because I'm not going to be cheap about it. But if you listen carefully and then email me the word spaghetti, I will get you some swag. I guess maybe send me your address or something. I don't know. I'll get you swag. I'll figure it out. Actually, don't send me your address. Just send me the word spaghetti. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. And then I did write it incorrectly the first time. So 2, you need to put anything related to the profile of the person you're sending to. So you need to specify an email. If you're sending a text, you want to add in like a phone number. And I will have to figure out the formatting of this in a bit, but we'll deal with that when the time comes.
Yeah.
And what else?
So that is that is something to point out is, right, we love to have perfect data, perfect user data, but what Courier does in response to not having quite the right thing is that it just does log an error, and there's really nice auditable logs for all this when we get done. So we'll be able to check to see, hey, why didn't we get that text message, and we'll be able to see that error when we see that this wasn't formatted right.
Exactly. And then for the content of the message, you need 2 properties. You need a title and you need the body of the message. So the title could be, what is this going to be called? What do you want to call it?
Oh, the title of this will be check out our docs.
Our docs, and then
the body will be like doc links go here, right? We're not going to actually
something, whatever you want to write. So if this was an email, the title would be the subject line and the body would be the actual email, what goes inside the body of the email. If this is in text, you're not actually going to see the title. You're really only going to see the body. So that is what that is. And then we'll need actual information about how we're sending this message. And my brain is not working, so I'm going to pop over to our docs. So if you head over to the Courier blog and scroll down, you'll find a blog that says Introducing Courier Elemental. And that has some really good examples of how you can set up the API v2 calls. So here, since my brain is fuzzy right now, I need to use this to remember what an API v2 call looks like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I never write an API object like from memory. Just, I keep an old one that worked or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So we have the person we're sending it to in our content already. We don't really need data. Data is like if you want to have conditions for your message or if you want to add variables within the body of your message. We don't want to worry about that right now. But we do need routing, like how we're actually going to end up sending this message. So I'm just going to copy this example into our code over here and make sure it looks pretty. Method single, this is email. I think we're good. If you were sending multi-channel notifications, you would add in all of the different like email, push, those things in here, and you can decide if you want to send it to just one of those or all of them.
Yeah, you like decide on what the routing is there.
Perfect. So this looks good. This is just going to be an email that goes out to Nika, and I hope that this works. Awesome.
So, well, because I mean, I won't get it till tomorrow, right? Because we have a 1 day delay before we see it. But no worries, tomorrow we'll come back.
No worries at all.
I'll comment on the YouTube to say, hey, I got it.
1 day later. We can add we can change this to 1 minute for now and then go back and change it to 1 day later for the demo. But that's what we have so far. That was pretty easy, right?
Yeah. I think automation is a powerful tool. Again, I usually talk about Courier as being this way to send through multiple channels, and we even did that here, right? We had the option to send push notifications or to send SMS, and so that is very powerful. But this really does show you how if you go to build your own, even just email notification service, there's going to be things that you just are not going to be out of scope for a DIY solution that Courier can cover for you, which is pretty nice.
Exactly. Now to test it out, we're just going to create a new event. We're going to add in Nika's email, which we wouldn't need if we're actually sending this out, but we're just adding it in here since it's a test event. Email.
Well, so we might fool with this later and be like, hey, send to the event.email, right? So we just want to have a complete test event.
Exactly. And then once we evoke it, you can either copy this curl command and paste it in terminal, or you can directly invoke it from here. And once it's invoked, Nika, could you check your email to see if you got a message? And I'm going to check my logs to see if it went through.
Of course, like a professional, I have my phone on D&D, but hey, I've got a new notification from Shreya. Come on, phone. Come on, ThinkCap. Yep.
Oh, you can see it. Wait, let me pull out the screen
share.
Wow, look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. And we can see over here in our logs as well that it was sent over to Nika.
Yeah.
I wonder if
and those logs, it's a subtle little thing, folks. And of course, I love them because I'm always building something new, right? So I like to be able to see what's happening. But think about, if you're running like an observability team or some kind of uptime, something that relies on uptime as software as a service, how many times do you get requests from high-value customers saying, why didn't I get this particular notification, right? Now, you can't go and access their email, right, and say, hey, it's in this spam box or it's here. But being able to go in detail and say, hey, looks like the push notification did get delivered, or the SMS did get delivered, the email bounced, and here's what we have. Obviously, we don't have perfect, if they have some auto spam deletion, then we're going to just show as sent. But having this like step-by-step logging is a huge source of peace of mind.
Exactly. And if you were watching the screen, you would have noticed as soon as this notification hit 1 minute, the second notification did also automatically go out.
I love it.
Beautiful. I love when things work when you're recording the actual videos.
Hey, it's like the first time, right? Wouldn't it be crazy if this just worked? And yes, here it is. Hey, check out our docs. Link to docs go here. Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. All right.
Perfect.
If people want to go further with this, I really recommend that you follow the step-by-step guide in our docs for automations. You'll see this automations tab on the left. Go ahead and explore with it. There's a very usable interface to go ahead and build this yourself. But yeah, the docs are a great guide. And if you have questions, where can people find us?
Well, if you have technical questions about Courier, then let me actually show you. If you go over to forum.courier.com, courier.com. I swear I can type. This is our little community platform where people can ask us questions about how Courier works. And if you have any issues, any errors that you're running into, or just want to learn more, suggest feedback for new features that we should add, anything like that, you can go over here, and our engineers will directly respond to you and help you out.
Major shout out to the users on here, and major shout out to all our engineering team who are super active on our forums and other channels.
Exactly. And if you're just curious about what's going on with Courier, we are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on all social media platforms at trycourier.com. Yeah.
And yeah, folks, that I think that's what we wanted to cover for automations. It was that easy.
It's pretty easy.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Check out our show. It'll be on YouTube and LinkedIn pretty much every week. And we'll be back soon with more cool stuff from Courier.
Awesome. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.